Hey guys, it's Elias. Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in today. As you can see behind me, I have a 2018 Mazda MX5 Miata RF. Now this is the Grand Touring version. This sticker's for about $34,000. So let's go ahead, go for a drive, and I'll tell you all about my experience with this Miata in the last 3 days of me driving it. One thing's for sure, Mazda Miata is a lot of fun. Oh yeah. You gotta love a high revving 4-cylinder. And by high revving I mean not that high revving, but it still sounds pretty good at the upper rev range. So welcome to the review of the 2018 Mazda Miata MX5 retractable hardtop, or Fastback. Don't call it a hardtop. So what do I think about this car, and do I think it's worth it? Well, let's go over it all. Now, this car looks amazing. I think the main reason why you'd buy this car is, of course, because of the looks. I mean, looking at this car from all the different angles, I just fall in love with it every time I see it on the road. And I was lucky enough to get this as a rental car. Every time I went to go get this car from the parking lot and drive it around, I just loved looking at it. I couldn't get enough of it. What can I say? I'm a big fan of convertibles. I have an S2000, as you guys know. And I'm a big fan of bold looking cars. And this Miata looks insanely good. I love the front end of it, very aggressive looking, shark front end. I love the way it just all comes together. I love the body lines. It looks really good from every angle that you look at it, especially somebody almost hit me. Especially from the side. I mean, the side view of this car with the top up, it just looks mean. It looks like a shooting brake. If you guys ever seen the BMW Z3 based M Coupe, that car looks amazing, and for the same reason that car looks cool, this car looks really cool. And it just looked really awesome with those flying buttresses back there. Like I said, I just love the way this car looks. Now, let's go on to the interior of the car. Now, I spent 3 days in here, so I got a good feel of it. You gotta remember, this car is a two-door convertible. Now, there are bigger, more luxurious two-door convertibles out there. This is not it, even though this does cost $34,000. This is definitely on the bottom end of the luxury scale. What do I mean by that? Well, the seat, while they're leather, they look nice. They're pretty comfortable for short trips. They're not that great for long trips. You know, it's missing that lumbar support. It's not that adjustable. And you know, I'm not a big guy. I'm only 5'8" on a good day. And it's just not that comfortable even for a small guy like me to get comfortable in. I wish the bolstering was a little bit better, and I'm sure if you got the other versions, you know, there's a Recaro seat option now for 2019. If you got those versions, those seats are going to be way better for sporty driving. This is meant for Grand Touring. This is the Grand Touring version, after all. And you know, I just can't really recommend this car as a Grand Touring car. We'll get to that at the driving portion. As it is though, right now, you know, the interior, it is small, but it's useful. You know, it's got some good elbow rest. I really can't complain about the elbow rest. It's pretty good as it is. The only thing I would complain about in the interior is, you know, it's kind of rattly. It's kind of, you know, it's more rattly than I expected a retractable Fastback to be. I do expect a regular convertible to be very rattly, like my S2000. But it just kind of rattles around, and the cowl shake. If you put this Fastback down, if you could take the roof off, there is quite a bit of a cowl shake, you know, more than I was expecting. Not a big deal in the long run, but it is there in case you guys are wondering. What else can I tell you about the interior? There's really not that much storage space to begin with. The car is very small. There's little small pockets here and there where you can put little knickknacks. Yeah, I call it knickknacks. And there are other things, you know, like the carpet is kind of thin. I'm not sure how long it'll last. I do love that body-colored interior panel inside here. It looks really cool. It adds a bit of accent to the car, which I think was missing from the previous year Miatas. The interior gauge, the interior pod, I think it's great. I think it's very well laid out. I would not change a bit. You know, it has a screen on the left. It's got the RPM gauge right in the center, as it should be. And then it's got the speedometer on the right as a small little circle. You want that RPM gauge to be right in the middle of your sight line. It's the biggest gauge there. It's exactly what you want from your sports car, and this car has it. Now, the one thing I don't like, of course, is the fact that this car came in automatic. Do not get the automatic, but again, we'll talk about that in the driving portion. The other thing I would say is that, you know, if you're getting this car, you know, for a daily commuter, you can definitely do it. It's more than comfortable enough for a half-hour, 45-minute drive. I would not hesitate to drive this car every day, non-stop. It would be more than fine. You know, the only thing is, you know, you can't, like I said, that much storage inside. The trunk is fairly small. You're not going to fit much. But, you know, for daily commuting, what are you really carrying? A backpack, a briefcase, some shopping, some grocery shopping? You can do all that in this car. Not a big deal at all. Anyway, enough of me blabbering on about the interior and all that good stuff. You guys want to know how it drives? Let's go ahead and switch up to that. So, what's this car like to drive on the highway? Well, it's actually not as bad as you'd think it is. It's actually pretty good. It's pretty comfortable. So, you know, I've been driving for about half an hour now. I'm going just, you know, taking a little stroll. And the seats, while not the best I've ever been in, considering the car is pretty lightweight and it's pretty small, they're not bad at all. They're pretty, the bolster's nice. You know, I wish they were a little bit better bolstered. These just don't have the bolster that I would like for a sportier car. But considering, again, like it's a smaller car, it's not too bad. Now, would I take this over, let's say, the BMW 335D or even a Type R for long-term trips? I don't think so, and here's why. The main thing is, or one of the main things is, you get a ton of wind noise. Now, you'd expect with a retractable fastback, you really shouldn't get that much wind noise. You know, it should be like a roof. But for whatever reason, this car just has a ton of wind noise seeping in through this seam up front here. I can hear it from the A-pillar on the left here. It's just very loud in here. It's not what I expected. Not that I'm complaining too much, you know, it is a sports car, but, you know, this is the Grand Touring RF model with the automatic. You'd expect it to be a little quieter, so, you know, if you're spending $34,000, that is what this car costs, you expect it to be a little bit quieter, a little more GT-like, and it's just not happening. The other thing is, it gets no respect on the road. So I'm driving along, and, you know, people will cut me off, people will just kind of ignore that I'm there. They don't care. They really don't care about the Miata when they look at it. It's like, it's a tiny little car, I'll just run it over. That's basically how I feel when I'm driving around. It doesn't help that I have terrible visibility. So we're right back here, because of the retractable hardtop, it's just, you can't see it. You can't see anything. So, you know, you try to adjust your mirrors to be as good as possible, but first, you know, they're small. So you kind of have to move your head around to get a good look. And second, you can't really see around this B-pillar or C-pillar or whatever you call it back here. So it's just kind of annoying to drive sometimes. And yeah, it does have that assist where it tells you there's a car next to you and it'll beep at you if you put your directional light. I found it to be really annoying, so I turned it off. I can't deal with it. It also has the lane departure mitigation system where it kind of tells you if you're going off of your lane. It doesn't actually tug at your steering wheel like the Honda Sensing does, which makes it kind of like an autopilot. But it just makes it really kind of annoying to drive around. So I turned that off. I hate it. Don't get it if you buy a Miata. I don't recommend it. But besides all that, you know, it is still pretty fun. You can dart through traffic and go around, and it's still a fun car. So yeah, there's that. With the automatic, this car is a hell of a lot of fun to drive. as expected, of course. So the transmission is an automatic, and it is actually a really good automatic. It's very responsive. You know, I put it in sport mode here, in manual mode, and it responds very well to my commands. It's about as good as the modern BMW ZF 8-speed transmissions, and that's high praise. You know, that's a really good transmission to be using. So this is a really good transmission for the car, but if you're gonna buy this car, get it in a manual. You'll thank me later. The other thing is, of course, the engine. The engine is a 2-liter pumping out, you know, not that much horsepower, not that much torque. They're improving it for 2019. For this year, we're stuck with the older design, and to be honest with you, it's fast enough. You know, it's not gonna set any lap records, it's not gonna light your pants on fire, but it does do a good job of moving its very lightweight body around. And the only thing I wish is that, you know, especially for an automatic, I wish that, you know, it kind of got a different tune, because as it is, you know, there's just really not that much torque down there. You gotta put your foot down. You're like, where am I going? Where's the torque? You know, it's not going anywhere. So, you know, if you're gonna get a manual, if you're gonna get this car, get it in a manual. If you're gonna get the automatic, expect to be kind of disappointed when you put your foot down and you're waiting for the transmission to catch up to your command. It's like, oh, there you go. You rev it up. Up in the higher rev range, though, yeah, it moves. It really moves. You gotta love that sound. Like I said, I just love the way this car sounds in the upper rev range. Now driving along here, just normally, not trying to have a lot of fun here. It's a pretty comfortable ride. I'd say the suspension's very well done. You know, some people complain that it's kind of body rolly, it rolls around, but honestly, you don't really notice it when you're in the car. It's actually more than good enough, more than stiff enough as you drive along, and I do enjoy the way it feels. It's not too harsh around the bumps. It's not too annoying to drive at all. And like I said, I could totally see myself commuting in this car. Not a problem at all. You know, acceleration-wise, this car is pretty good. Oh yeah. You gotta love those naturally aspirated engines. It's just, I miss having them, you know? The other few things I want to mention about this driving position and everything here, the steering wheel is perfect. I love the way the steering wheel feels. The leather on it feels good to the hand, and the material everything you touch feels pretty good as well. Now the big question, of course, is how does this car drive with the top down? Let's find out. So I'm gonna hit the button here, let it do its thing. It takes quite a while, in my opinion. And there we go, big open sky, nice and blue, beautiful. I'm gonna leave the windows up for now so you guys can hear me, but if you have a retractable fastback and you put the top down, put your windows down, it gets too buffety, you know, it kind of bothers your head after a while. But for your sake, I'll leave them up just so you can hear me. Let's see what we can do here. Oh, that sounds great. Awesome. I am smiling. I am all smiles here. Oh yeah. That's what this car's all about. Top down, nice cool evening, not too hot. This is awesome. So with the top down, with the hard top down, it's still, you know, you still have a nice protected space right around you. So, you know, you don't get as bad a buffeting as you'd get, let's say, for example, in my S2000. Although the S2000 is pretty well built in terms that, you know, they take care of all that for you. With this car, you know, you really have to put the windows down here so that you don't get all that buffeting. With the windows up, man, with the windows down, it feels so nice. With the windows up, you do get quite a bit of buffeting. I'm not a fan. I don't think the regular convertible has that. me to say about this car. I've been really enjoying it. You know, if you've never driven a top-down car, a convertible in your life, it behooves you to go ahead and look for one, go and rent one, buy one. I really recommend it. It's just so much fun to just put the top down, go for a drive. You make up excuses just to go for a drive. Not that other cars don't do the same thing for me, but this car, these type of cars especially do that for me. It's just an awesome experience. With that said, there's a couple of caveats that I would have to say about this particular car, the 2018 Mazda MX5, the retractable Fastback. If it were my money, what would I do? What would I get? And again, I'm sorry, we have a little bit of light issue, but we're running out of daylight and I'm trying to finish it up here, trying to finish my thoughts. What would I do for my money? Well, for a convertible, there's not that many out there these days anymore, unfortunately. You got the BMW convertible that's out there. You got the Mercedes, I believe, still has a convertible. You can get the Mustang, Camaro convertibles as well. I don't recommend you get those. I'm not a big fan. What I do recommend is you take a look at the MX5, the Mazda Miata. And which one would I get? Well, I'd probably get the Club Racer in the non-Fastback version. Now, the only reason I say that is because I'm a track day guy, I'm an autocross guy, and these unfortunately do not take the place of a roll bar, so they would make you put a roll bar on there, and I just don't see the space where you put a roll bar. There probably is one out there, I just haven't seen one. So I would probably get the regular convertible. If you like the look, and you should like the look of the RF, the retractable Fastback, what I recommend for you is for you to get the cheapest version of the Fastback. Do not get the GT, do not get the Grand Touring one. I just don't think the features of the Grand Touring are worth it. I hate the way that lane mitigation system works. I don't like the way it beeps at you and vibrates and sounds. It's just the worst. It is the worst. It is not worth that money. I don't like any of the extra fancy things that it brings. It just ruins, it just kind of spoils the fun for you. You know, you buy this car to have fun. You don't want it to be a dead-end experience. You want to feel the whole thing. So if you're gonna get the RF, get the cheapest RF available, and for God's sake, do not get the automatic. I'll make a separate video on this, on automatics versus manuals on sports cars. But you know, this is a great automatic. Don't get me wrong, like I said, it compares to the ZF 8-speeds and the BMWs. But even when I say that, you know, it's just, you want a manual on this car. It's a very small engine, 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, doesn't have that much power, so you got to wring it out. And you're trying to rig out an engine with an automatic transmission, you're not going to have a good day. It's not going to be that much fun. And for most people, you know, when you're driving along, you don't really care about what the car's doing, not a big deal. But if you're like me, you want to have a lot of fun, you want to throw it at the second, you know, you don't want to wait for it to go down. There you go, come on. You know, it's a really good transmission. It's fast, but it's still an automatic transmission. You want the manual in this car, and I just really do recommend the manual. But if you're going to get the automatic, if you're going to get the Fastback, I'm not going to blame you, because this car, no matter how you get it, is still awesome. Alright guys, that pretty much does it for me. We are out of light, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.